forget, let's talk paranormal.
Hey, let's talk paranormal. It is
Hi.
Friday again. Man, these weeks keep flying by fast.
They do.
So, we've got a wonderful special guest, a shaman and a psychic medium who's going to we're going to dive in and get to know her and get to know a little bit about what's going on things in the world. So, I'm going to bring her in. It's Stacia Wills.
Hi, guys.
Hi.
Happy 4th, everybody.
Happy
Exactly.
4th.
I had to try the new monster.
Nice.
It's
What
not-
is that?
It's the new one. It's the ultra red, white, and blue Raz.
But from who? I can't see it very
Monster.
well. Oh, Monster. Okay.
So it's the good old 4th drink. So I figured I'd give it a shot.
Awesome.
All
Is it any good?
Yeah, it's not bad. Even with the 0 sugar, it's not bad.
Okay, that's cool. Good to know.
I have never had a monster.
I
I never have.
love them. The wife.
I've
likes
only
them.
had the old-fashioned one in the green and black can, but I don't care for them, so I don't partake in that much caffeine.
But that's how, I like my coffee and I like my tea, but that's about the extent of where I go with caffeine.
Yeah.
I'm going through eventually about September-ish bariatric surgery,
Okay.
and I got to stay away from the sugars.
Mm-hmm.
So I am prepping myself with the 0 sugar. The Splenda, I guess it is.
Yeah, I try to stay away from sugar altogether. It's not good for you. Little honey.
I wish
here
I
and there.
could.
You wish you could.
That's like my vice is sugary foods.
Right?
Big
That's
time.
my partner.
We just got cookies from 7-Eleven, and I'm like, I got an oatmeal cookie. At least that's a little bit less sugar. So, all right. So, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm known as a Molfar. My grandparents came from the Carpathia Mountains, the Key Russ area. So we are known as the Carpathia Rootsons. It is a small indigenous group within the Slavic territory. There's less than 1 million of my people left. There's only like 120,000 of us identified. We are people that lived in the mountains like I said, in the Slavic area, but we don't have a designated state. You can be Ukrainian, Polish, Hungarian, and be of this bloodline.
Okay.
Everybody in the family is gifted. It is known as a gifted line. With that being said, I'm the creepy one of the family. So I'm the shaman. And my mother was a shaman. My mother was born with extra bones in her feet. I was born with extra teeth. I was born with extra electrical hardware in my heart. So I do have, a pacemaker defibrillator because my heart just decides it's a disco ball at times and, decides to, put extra beats in there and it's got to be settled down.
Oh, wow.
But, my gifts are, clairvoyant medium. How I am as a shaman, I do talk to the other side. So your ancestors give me message. It's anything that's in your wheelhouse. It could be your grandmother. It could be your second grade teacher. It could be your hamster. And I always say the dead are here to fix the shit they created. I'll get a reading, I'll have a client come in and I'll be pulling things through and I finally look, wait, are you adopted? They're like, yes. I'm like, okay, because they're like, nope, 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 nope. And I'm like, I'm seeing them there and it makes sense because even though you're adopted, doesn't mean those ancestors leave you.
Gotcha.
So yeah, it can be anything within your line. I read very nostalgic, I can tell what side of the family it is by where they sit, beside me. But, I pull things through and I always say they identify very nostalgic. And I'll give you 2 examples. I sat down one day and I was doing a fair. And I was sitting there, and for some odd reason, I changed my speech up. And I kept saying, like maybe Aunt Betty comes through with potato salad. Like they'll identify themselves. So you go, oh, wait, that's Aunt Betty. And I kept saying that, never said that before. And this woman sits down and says, they identify themselves, Aunt Betty makes potato salad. She goes, is my Aunt Betty here? And I said, what? She goes, Aunt Betty always made potato salad. I said, so Aunt Betty had already stepped in early in the day. And I felt her and I just changed up my, my script. But I have this one, and I mean, this is a really generic name because his name was Joe. And I said, who's your dad's dad that was in the Navy that ate bologna every day, died of a heart attack? She went, that's my grandpa, Joseph. She goes, how'd you know that? I said, he's on a Navy ship. He's tapping his heart. But then he showed me a bologna sandwich. She goes, oh, he ate bologna every day. I said, that's probably why I had a heart attack. And, we chuckled. So after we identify who it is on a very nostalgic level, then we go into the readings. And I am a generational curse breaker. And what I mean by that is, every family has something that goes on. And it could be something very small or it could be something very big. And they come in and they start telling me because we carry trauma within our DNA for 10 generations. The Bible says 7. I've been working with a geneticist over here at University Hospital, and it is 10 generations. So you need to be the first generation to break that pattern. And, that's where the ancestors, you can have an ancestor that's like, you never met, that I say World War II or World War I, the story. You're like, yeah, this happened. My grandfather had an amputation in World War II. And, and then his PTSD caused him to drink. You know what I mean? I'm like, but alcohol was the problem here. It starts pinpointing it in and correcting it. So then you know how to correct your line. Then you know how to start passing it to the next generation. It has to be fixed so each generation can then get better. And that's how we build. What's that, dear?
Oh, I said, that's cool.
It is. So, I mean, I read very, very nostalgic, but I get into a lot of deep things. It's not just kind of like a basic reading. It is very deep because it's meant to be healing. And we created a group called Wardruna based on that. So what it is we have a very large group of shamans and mediums. And the mediums are also very gifted clairvoyants. And when they come and sit with one of us, we start pulling out the trauma. We also have resources set up like therapists, psychiatrists, holistic doctors. We have connections to clinics and VA. We have a lot of people we work with. But I always say, you're only as good as the message you can support. So if you have somebody that's sitting there and has had all this trauma, and you have just pulled that out, and that's not exactly what they thought. They're like, I'm just going to see if, this guy's going to marry me. Then all of a sudden, well, yeah, he's going to marry you, but you have to correct these habits because, for you to have a good marriage. And then they're sitting there like, oh shit, that's not what I expected. You do offer them those resources for help. I mean, we have hypnotists, yogis. I mean, you name it, it is there. And they usually go, one after another. We have Ashkaic records, past life regression, because you might keep hitting something, but it goes back to a past life, in the family line. So there's so many levels there, but we've been recognized. I had the Cleveland Clinic in my office with a woman who was going to do a reading for the first time. I'm like, do you mind if the psychiatrist sits in? Absolutely not. Pull out everything right away. And when it was done and the woman left and I gave her the resources, I'm like, oh, honey, you need resources. And she was making appointments right there. The psychiatrist looked at me and says, you got done in 10 minutes what would take me 10 months. My response was, you rely on the humans to give you the information. I talk to the dead. They just tattle because they want this. I always say they want this shit fixed. They know what they did here. And now on the other side, they see their ways and they really want the ancestors to have a better life.
Okay. That's pretty cool. Ironic that you talked about the curse breaking, because my mom was, I guess, scrolling on Facebook and came across a prayer to help break curses, and she sent it to me and it's like, you need to help me say this because I think our family have some kind of a curse, because there's always trauma, there's always something bad happening no matter wherever we go, and financial is just like dead.
Yeah. So what happens is there are traumas there, there's abuse there's habits there. Does that make sense? That we actually grow up with. And, but there's all, it's not like a person has put a curse on you, but it can stem back to a family member who has done something, then it affects, each line.
Right.
And it just becomes part of your family. And then that's where it's like, oh, it's the family curse. But also with that is sometimes you can go in to that past life or the Ashikaic records and see exactly what got messed up where and kind of undo that. I am very big on prayer. I'm very big on Psalms. I'm very big on, candle work with the Psalms, always just trying to clear it out. Yeah, I mean, my family's trauma comes straight from Russia. And it was a, really ugly situation of abuse.
Wow.
So when it came onto my doorstep, I was the last child abused in the line. And when I hit 19 years old, I'm like, oh, wait a second, you guys all suck, and we're not going to touch children anymore. And my mother, she was the first one to actually start speaking out about it, but she didn't take it the whole ways. So she
Gotcha.
laid the path for me to speak about it. But when it happened to me, I was the one to fight about it. And, then, like I said, it's funny because when I go into like a funeral home or a wedding, the family splits. I mean, and when I say Russians, it literally is a nation. My family's huge and they split. And I'm just like, either they love me or hate me. And if they hate me, it's because they're doing something wrong. But, they all just look, oh God, here she's coming. But it's because I spoke out.
Yeah.
But, that's what you need to do is you need to change that pattern. And you have to look at every habit because you usually have those from growing up and they're passed back. But you can definitely break it. And, once again, we can just talk to the ancestors and figure out where that lies.
Right. So, you got a question, Nicole?
I was just wondering, how old were you when you realized you had the gift, or was it something that your parents or your mother taught you about very young, or was it something that you realized one day?
Well, I don't remember a moment without my gifts. We're literally born this way. And I loved my mother because she did not, nobody in the family said, oh, you have a gift. I mean, I literally grew up thinking this is what everybody did. Okay. I didn't know the difference. So when I would say to my mother, if somebody's standing here, I'm sorry, I just saw this big shadow walk there. So, anyways, when I would say to my mom, there was something in the closet, or I just saw something walk over there, or I heard this. She's like, well, did it make you feel good or make you feel bad? Well, Mom, I didn't really like that. Or, it was not that big, big of a deal. It reminded me of, Aunt so and so. Oh, okay. But she's like, oh, bad? Well, let's go see what it was. And she was very big into house cleansing. She was always one that was called, or, the priest would come in. My mother was very much about the land. And I'll say my mother was not mentally a healthy person from her abuse, but this woman taught me how to survive an apocalypse. I mean, we foraged, we learned the land, we learned the roots, we learned, the herbs, the flowers, everything that you needed. And she taught us how to survive. So, to answer your question, it was something that it was just taught. It didn't start. I noticed it was weird when I was in high school and I dated a boy. And we're all sitting around and they had said something about a ghost. And I just opened up and started talking. And they looked at me and they're like, there's something wrong with you. And I'm like, what do you mean? You talked about seeing a ghost. Like, don't we all see this? I remember going home and saying to my mom, she's like, oh, honey, we don't talk about those things. Well, why don't we? Because, the town I grew up in was haunted and I had so many cousins around me and they were all gifted. So we would talk about things we saw. So I didn't realize that not everybody did this until I ventured out dating this guy. He took me to this house and now I'm the weirdo, So then, you pull back a little bit and go, oh, I guess I don't discuss that out in the open.
Right.
And
Wow.
and I did. I calmed down a little bit. Like you can't do that. But there was a lot of predictions when I was 4, a lot, and I watched them play out. I mean, even in my 30s and 40s, things that my mother would say that I would say. She always said to me, there was a power plant, probably about 40 minutes from our house. And we would have to go past it to see her sister. And when I was 4, I looked at my mother and said, I'm going to work at that cloud maker. Because, that's what it looks like. It looks like a big cloud maker.
Yeah.
And she would always say that to me, you always said you were going to work at that cloud maker, and we'd laugh. Well, when my first husband, he left, I'm 36 years old. I started a business. The business was literally only months old. And this power plant calls me. I didn't put no application in. I did not apply to this power plant. I don't even know how to apply to a power plant to this day. Have no clue how to submit to get into a power plant. But this power plant called me and said, we heard about you. Now, I will say I knew a lot of good people. So I'm like, okay, I go to this power plant. I check in. I go to this interview. And they said, okay, the big boss wants to see you tomorrow. I'm okay. So I go back the next day. I sit in this guy's office. Worst interview in the world. I will tell you, it was horrible. I am knocking things off his desk. I'm shaking going, oh my God, what am I doing here? My business is only like 3-4 months old. I'm going, what the hell do these people want with me? I get out in the car. I remember laying my head on the steering wheel going, God, you're testing me. You are testing me. Go home and I get this call. Can you come tomorrow? I'm like, again? They're like, yeah. So I go back the next day. Now I'm in this conference room sitting, and I remember sitting across from this guy going, why am I here? Like, are you just bored in life? Like, were you in the same room with me yesterday with that interview? You sitting across, that was a horrible interview. He just starts laughing because you were nervous. I said, nervous? How can you be prepared for something that you didn't, I didn't submit to? I said, why am I here? He goes, I heard good things about you. I said, okay. And he goes, I'm going to build you a company. And I said, there's others with experience. And he goes, yeah, I'm not looking for that. He goes, I'm looking for somebody to do what I need to be done. I don't need to be told. I know what the rules and regulations were. Well, overnight, I had probably one of the largest contracts for an occupational health and safety.
Wow.
And it was the power plant I pointed to when I was 4 years old.
That's
Nice.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, I predicted those things, and, we always laugh about it because my mom always would say, whatever comes out of your mouth, pretty much happens. And, yeah, so, I mean, I've done it my whole life. I don't remember a day of it turning on, waking up, a tragedy. I don't remember that. I just know it's there. I mean, have I learned little things along the way? I remember when my sister Sadie called me. And I love my sister. She was born when I was in high school, so she was kind of like my kid. We're 13 years apart. She's in nursing school, and she calls me and she goes, how you always say you read auras? And I said, yeah. She goes, in nursing school today, I learned it's called synesthesia. And I said, what? And she goes, yeah. She goes, I see, like, when people clap or walk, she goes, I see sparks. And she goes, that's not normal, Stacia. She goes, it's actually a neurological problem in the brain. I said, not everybody can see like that. She goes, no, they actually say babies see like that, but they grow out of it. But some people don't. And it usually runs with the female. So, like, if you have it, your mother has it, your sister has it. So there's 3 sisters. 2 of us had it, and my mother had it. Because we're all talking. I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm always seeing colors around people and vibrations. And my one poor sister is like, I don't know what you guys are talking about. So, have I learned different things along the way about me? I have. But it is part reason, how I read is being able to read these colors and things off of people or vibrations. And so it's all with, like I says, this neurological thing called synesthesia. A lot of artists have it. Eric Clapton has it, so, like a lot of great musicians have it, which I'm not. I can't sing or play. But that's how they can say they can see notes. It, like, it talks to them.
okay.
So, yeah, I've learned different things.
That's really cool. I've never heard it before.
Yeah. I'll
What,
send you a link to it. It is really cool.
what is the way for you to just, like, get a break? Just shut it off.
I come into my house and I shut the door and turn off electronics and just veg because I actually don't turn it off.
Okay.
People ask me that, and I see, feel like I'm talking. All of a sudden, there was somebody standing there. I just like looked, and I'm like, okay, hi, how are you? But I don't ever turn it off, and I don't know how. That's I guess maybe is a curse and a blessing at the same time. It's that double-edged sword. Just because I was born with it, and I've
Mhm.
always been this way, my best thing is I just shut the door, turn off electronics, maybe just put some music on, burn sage, and I block out the world.
Okay. Kind of basically just look at them and be like, not right now.
Oh yeah, there's times I tell them just, can I get some sleep tonight? Not tonight, guys. Not the 10 little monkeys jumping on the bed, because I mean they do. I was just at a haunted location, and really beautiful place. It's the haunted Knickerbocker in Linesville. I'm friends with the owner. It's by private invite only. It's been on all the shows, and I sit on the bed, and I reached over to get my heart meds. I bent down, and I thought my partner Tom sat beside me, because you know what it feels like when somebody sits beside you on the bed. And I went, hey, and I'm like, oh, and you actually saw the bed, was sunk down. I went, well, hi,
Wow.
how are you? Like, and I just look. So, yeah, I'm like, okay, guys, I'm getting ready to go to bed. Like, I'm glad you're here, but not tonight.
What I would say the scariest moment of like a sighting or something that you've gone to that kind of scared you. What happened?
um, well, I have, so let me say, people want to say everything is a demon.
Yeah.
It's not, okay? 1% of that are big, nasty things. Um, have I encountered that? I have. I'm not going to talk about it because you don't give those kind of things energy, or it can manifest back. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't do that. Scariest thing, I have to tell you that not many things scare me. I mean, humans scare me. That's the funny thing, okay?
Right.
You come around the corner, I will jump and scream like there is no tomorrow. I see a ghost, I'm like, oh, hi, how are you? Just like, oh, it's just a ghost. Turn around to a human, and I am the jumpiest thing in the whole entire world. I'm even trying to, I'm going to tell you, it's not the sightings that I see, it's the predictions that I have given that think are the scariest, or things I have predicted that you can't stop are the things that scare me. Does that make sense? There's like nothing you can do. That's the scariest. I've had situations where spirits have come to me, and I have talked to them. I overturned a suicide murder to a murder.
Mm.
So, the spirit came to me and said, like, the mother was there. And I said, oh, I'm sorry, you lost your son. And she just looked at me and she goes, I'm not real happy. And I said, he's saying it's not what you think. And he laid out the whole case. And we just looked at each other because there was details that I shouldn't have known about,
Yeah.
like this extra person there describing them, the puppy, there was other things that I'm really not going to get into, that there is no way that I would have known.
Right.
And they ran with it, and bodies were exhumed and everything, and things were turned out, turned around. So those kind of things, to me, when I see what's playing out, that's what I find scary, if that makes sense to you.
Yeah. What shows have you been on?
I was on a show called Dark Echoes, and other than that, I really tried to avoid any of that, to be honest. Like, I don't mind doing the investigations. I just I have there's been a few others that are in works. I'm just going to leave that there. I'm not going to talk about it. But it's I like to be behind the scenes a lot.
Right.
It takes a lot for me to even, like, go on stage and talk, with Wardruna. I'm very passionate about it. So I have to go and talk. Even if you see my Facebook page. It's a lot of ads and everything, but you don't see a lot of personal stuff. You don't see, you don't, that's just not me. Even when I take pictures, I'm usually behind the camera taking pictures of everybody else. It's just who I am. So yeah, I was on a show, Dark Echoes. I did the Wildwood season finale. It was very interesting. They actually redid the whole season. I mean, the whole episode to put what I spoke about, because it's not what they expected it to be.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that was, that was interesting. But I have a lot of good people around me, and it's more based for the healing technique that Wardruna has. And that I respect. Everybody has some grief. I really think everybody gets into the paranormal world because they are chasing their demons. They are trying to fix the past. They're trying to understand the person that they lost. There's grief there. They want to know that there's life on the other side. I mean, I buried my son almost 8 years ago, and it was something I saw coming, and there was nothing I could do about it. And that probably to me is the scariest moment, if you want to know, is seeing that my son was going to pass away and there was not a damn thing I could do about it.
Wow.
And when I got the call, I just dropped to my knees. And I replay it all the time in my head, and there's nothing I could have done differently. And, it's when it's your time, it's your time. But, I get messages from him, and I cherish every message. I mean, there's times, he's blatant right in my face, or somebody will, I don't know, a medium pick up and say, your son just told me to tell you this. And there's no way they would have known that whatsoever. So I cherish those moments. And I believe mediums are a very important, part of healing. There's always been, the one thing that upsets me in this industry is there's a lot of drama and a lot of competition. I don't like that. I've been drug into some drama. I'm getting ready to address it because I'm tired of it, because I haven't really said anything. Here's my thing is, am I a good medium? I am. I'm sure there's somebody out there better than I am. I'm sure there's somebody out there not as good. You know what I mean? What does it matter if they give the person that they come across the message of that day? Why are all these mediums and psychics trying to knock each other out? Why are all these investigative groups trying to knock each other out? Do you know how many damn people have lived on this planet?
Right.
There's more than enough spirits for all of us to talk to. I mean, we can't even get to them all, to be honest.
Yeah.
And, getting a message from the other side is very surreal. It's very heartwarming. It's, it's, you miss the person just to know that they're still there with you. We touched base a little bit, before we came onto the reading, and just to know what loved ones are there, even if it's a pet, you know what I mean?
Right.
Because they're part of the family also. So those, to me, it's just I'm why is there all this fighting and trying to knock each other out? We are all going to get the message when we need to get the message at that moment in time.
Yeah, we need to just be friends. Honestly, just
Absolutely.
get along.
Yeah. Life is too short. Like I said, I'm getting ready to address it because I haven't addressed it, and it just kind of snowballed. You know how you think something's going to go away and it doesn't? And then you're like, oh man, I got to address this. And I'm getting ready to. But yeah, to me, it's just the highest vibration is love. And you know that with you and Vinny. That's why you guys got along. You loved each other. So that vibration was high. And, so he will always be with you. But, it's raising your vibration. It's, just being kind to one another. That's honestly it. I just if you cannot be kind, if you cannot love, at least give yourself respect in the person and just walk away. You know what I mean? You don't have to keep causing drama.
That's understandable.
Yeah.
You got anything, Nicole?
So if anybody was kind of, I don't know, feeling like they might have some abilities, was there any kind of advice that you would give them as far as what could they do to practice or hone in more?
Absolutely. So I will tell you what I do. First of all, I would tell them to turn off electronics. I would tell them to go outside and walk. I would tell them to take spiritual baths, always ground yourself. My biggest thing is I tell people journal. It's something I had to do. And I'll explain what I had to do, and then you'll understand why. So I come from a very large family. When I was 14, my Baba passed away. There was 101 grandchildren. Those grandchildren, great grandchildren. Oh, I know. I mean, dear
Wow.
God, these Russians were like rabbits. I mean, holy crap. That's what I said. When I said I came from a family of a small nation, I really did. So, we would go into a room. I'd be young and I'd be all of a sudden tasting metal in my mouth. And then I noticed they're talking about so and so having cancer. And I noticed every time I went somewhere and I taste metal in my mouth, somebody had cancer. Or did you ever bite your tongue and you get that blood taste? If I did that was something cardiovascular, like it was going to be a stroke, a heart attack. So I started putting things together and I started writing it down. And I'm like, I'm tasting this. This is who was in the room. And within like a week or two, boom, somebody was diagnosed with cancer or somebody had a heart attack. So do you see, like I say, what you're feeling, what's your sensation, what are you thinking? You know what I mean? It might be a tingle on your right arm. Like I realized when I read, this is the mother's side, this is the father's side. You have to start picking it up and then you start writing down, well, this was the situation. So I started feeling this. And each time I'm doing this, this is what I'm feeling. This is what I'm getting. Start understanding how your spirit guides connect to you because it is a frequency, it's a different language, and you're learning the signs of what they're giving you. So my thing is journal, journal, journal. That could be dreams. Some people only get their messages through dreams. Put that journal beside your bed. I don't care if it wakes you up at 3 o'clock in the morning. Hurry, jot it down because you're not going to remember that dream when you wake up.
Yeah, I don't remember my dreams.
Yeah. But you know how you get up and you're like, oh, wait, I remember that. I'll get it in the morning. And then you're like, okay, I remember I was supposed to remember something, but now I can't remember it. That's why it's very important. That is what I always tell people when they come to me. But I always say, just it's okay to cut people out of your life. I mean, I've cut family members out of my life. My great grandmother, my father's great grandmother, was full-blooded Cherokee Indian, but it was his step grandmother. So his real grandmother passed away in childbirth, and his step grandmother was full-blooded Cherokee. And she always said, blood makes you related, doesn't make you family. And yeah, and that always stuck with me. And, my father loved her. She loved my dad. My dad told me, because I never met her, but my dad told me this story. And my dad's family was very big into fostering and adoption because of, this philosophy is, blood only makes you related. So it's okay to tell a family member, I'm going to love you from afar, but I don't need to be in this drama. You know what I mean? It's okay to tell a friend, you know what? This is the end of our journey. It hurts when friendships end. But at the same time, it hurts when it's nothing but abuse over and over and over again. People are stepping stones and not in a bad way. It's not like you're using people to get somewhere. But, we take this path. And each person gets us to where we need to be. It's an experience. And some of those stones are very small and you got to get off of them right away or you're going to, fall into the water. Some are so huge that you can sit there for years just enjoying them. Some you have to back up and, you wobble, you go back, you have to reconnect, and then you keep moving forward. But everybody that is laid in your path is part of your story to get you to your destination. And, I think sometimes people overstay their welcome. I would rather just kind of, exit the stage and remember the good memory. Once it starts going, bad, it's like, I will try to fix it or whatever. But if you see, do you ever have that friendship? It's like, oh God, this is just not going to work. And I can't believe we've been friends for 15 years. Vibrations change, times change. So just keep moving forward. They might come back around, they might not, but it's okay.
Okay.
Did that help you at all?
Yeah. Yeah, it makes
Perfect.
a lot of sense.
Yeah. You do have a huge aura around you, honey.
I do.
You do.
Oh, okay. What
I just
color
thought
is
I'd
my
tell.
aura?
This is a light kind of yellow. It's a pale yellow, but it is beautiful. And there are, you do have some gifts that you just kind of suppress down. You second guess yourself a little bit. I just want them to go through, just speak up. You know what I mean? Just speak up. It,
I've heard that before,
Mhm.
about gifts that I have, but a lot of times I just kind of ignore them and I just keep
Yeah.
going on with life itself because life is extremely busy at this
Yeah.
point. So I really don't have time to sit and connect a lot. But I've noticed, I've been doing paranormal research for 15 years or so,
Yeah.
and I really do connect with the other side in a lot of different ways. And when I go places, I take a lot of photographs, and it's
Hmm.
kind of funny because I always ask myself, like after I leave, I'm like, how come I always get like 4 or 5 entities in one picture?
Because
Like,
they're coming to you.
yeah, they all
That's
come to
that
me.
light. Yeah, that's the light I see around you. So it's kind of like the moth drawn to the flame.
Right.
And
Okay.
you can work on that more. Don't overthink it. Because you when you say like life is busy and connecting, it's literally like breathing. That's it. It's that nudge, it's that feeling. Don't dismiss it because they have a message for you. Don't get mad when you take the wrong turn. And I always like to give this story. So a friend of mine, he was a business agent for a union, and we were going to go down to a football game, Steeler Stadium. And he ended up taking a wrong turn over by Duquesne University. And when he took this turn, he got mad and he starts hitting the steering wheel. And I remember I looked at him like, what did the steering wheel ever do to you? Like, why are we hitting the steering wheel? Like, it didn't take the wrong turn. And I start laughing because he was going off on the steering wheel. I said, so he turns around. He goes and he starts going back up the street and to get back on the main road. And I said, do you know possibly maybe that saved us from an accident? And right when we came to the stop sign to enter back on the road, because the traffic was thick, was the car that was to be in front of us, and the car behind it hit that car. And
Wow.
I looked at him and says, now, don't you think your loved ones and your spirit guides just saved us from an accident? And he looked, he goes, I won't ever beat the steering wheel again. I says, well, why? Good. Because it's not a very becoming look. Like that poor steering wheel did nothing. But sometimes when you take that wrong turn, don't get mad. It literally can be placed there so you're not in an accident.
Yeah, there's a reason for it.
Yeah.
See, that's what we were thinking on jetting down to Vinny's funeral.
Yeah.
We were trying and doing everything we can to make it. We get literally maybe an hour out of Florida and we're in Georgia, and all of a sudden we're going on I-75 and we're going about 75 miles an hour, and it just starts dropping
Yeah.
randomly. And so the wife pulls over on the side of the highway, and for 6 hours or so, it wouldn't start. The vehicle would not start. It wouldn't do anything. We
Yeah.
ended up getting a tow and got to the shop. And what's crazy is the shop that we were at, there was a cemetery and a whole bunch of like possibly animal bones everywhere, a cemetery behind us, a cemetery in front of us. So I was just playing with the spirit talker on the app, and it was coming up with some pretty interesting words. But um, the the guy, the mechanic, he ran every single test in the world, and for free. Thank you. I mean, that was very, very nice and a blessing. He did it all for
Absolutely.
free, and there was nothing wrong with the car. It literally got us back home. It started up everything.
Mhm. That's exactly,
It's so
you know,
crazy.
it is, that I always say, spirits are absolutely amazing once you start listening to them. So honestly, honey, you have a gift there. Don't like overthink it and go, I'm too busy. Just embrace it because you can make it just part of your life, just like breathing, seeing, tasting.
Oh, don't get me wrong. I do try when I go on investigations
Yes.
and I'm at certain places. Yes, I do try to take more time to listen to them. Kind of sometimes I'll go into like what I call almost a meditative kind of state, or like right
Correct.
before I'm ready to sleep or something, just very calm. And
Yes.
I'll try to listen like that. But what I mean about life being busy is that
Oh, yeah.
between running a household, taking care of my mother, my
Yeah.
daughter, my 3 dogs, and everything that I do, like my daily life,
It's
I
just
don't
busy.
really pay attention to the stuff.
Yeah.
But I do pay attention to like I don't know why I'll be driving and all of a sudden I'll say something like, "Well, shit, I'm gonna get in an accident." I'd be like, "No, I'm just gonna keep driving." But now I know there's some
Yeah.
reason that I said that to myself, and then, like, later
Correct.
that day, I'll either get into an accident or almost get into an accident. So I know that when that happens, that I have to listen to what, like, why did that pop into my head? Like, just
You,
little things for no
oh,
reason.
absolutely. Your guides can talk through you. Um, I have a cat, and her name's Natasha. She's little Russian blue. Now, I had a little cat named Gossamer, had her for 18 years, had to put her down, and I was not getting another kitty. I love this kitty.
Right.
It's like probably like 2 years after she passed. I literally sat up in the morning and go, I need a Russian blue named Natasha. And I went, what the, where did that come from? I mean, I just sat up straight back. I'm like, I don't want a cat. I get out of bed, I go make coffee, and I'm feeling this cat. So I sit down with a cup of coffee and I take my phone and I put rescue Russian blues. The first cat that popped up was a 3-week old kitten named Natasha in Ohio.
Oh
Oh
my
wow.
gosh.
I'm like, are you kidding me? So I sent this message and like, I'd like to have this kitty. They're like, fill out this application, filled it out. Next day went and got her. And I'm just like, so sometimes it just speaks through you. You know what I mean? I wasn't even in the market for a cat, wasn't even thinking about a cat. Now she's my 13-year-old pain in the butt that I absolutely love. And I don't know what I would do without her. But yeah,
I heard
when
you
you
guys talking about this earlier. Like, I still see I had to put a cat down a couple years ago, and I was never really a cat person, but this cat, I don't know, like changed my mind for whatever reason. And I cried for like 2 months when I had to put him
yeah,
down because he's only like 3 years old. He had some sort of thing where like his urine would crystallize and he couldn't go to the bathroom.
yeah, the kitty.
And I paid like 3 months worth of my rent to try to save him at the vet, and nothing I did worked. And I was hysterical for months. But anyhow, this cat, like, I swear I still see him in my house. And like I'll be sitting in bed at night and then all of a sudden I just see him whisk by and I'm like, "Oh, there's Nugget." Like I
Yeah.
know for a fact that it's him and I know that he's here.
Is that the one I saw earlier? Or is it
I don't
different?
know. I heard you talking to him about a cat. I didn't know if I thought you were talking to him about it.
Is that the cat I saw earlier?
I'm not sure. I know we have, like I said, we have a white kitty that we had that passed away recently.
Oh, my cat was white and gray.
But it's funny. Did you hear what she said?
Mhm.
Crystallization. What
Yeah,
was I giving you? Because
yeah.
I was also feeling a crystallization that I wasn't. I'm like, what's this? Okay, so that's the cat that was there.
Okay. So
Because they
yeah.
were, yeah, him and Vinny were, the cat and Vinny were
We
kind
have
of coming
kitties over
together.
here,
Yeah, and I was just like, it was just funny because that's the word that I used
right?
when we were talking. So I would say that that's the cat. Goes just like walking back and forth and loving but yeah, to me, I love cats. I'm too busy to have dogs. I mean, I love them. I've had them. I've had chickens. I've had goats. I had a turkey named Goat. My 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 son, he was Dr. Doolittle from the minute he was born. I mean, he was always rescuing animals. I will say this: October 10th will be the 7th annual event. It's a benefit for my son. This year, we're holding it in Meriden, Connecticut,
Okay.
and it's Meet the Authors event. So every year, what we do is I have some type of psychic event, and everybody who enters in brings pet supplies, a donation.
Okay.
So we're moving it from Cleveland this year, and we're going over to Connecticut from where Tom is from. And we're showcasing about 15 different authors. We got Jimmy Petnino, Mr. Haunted. He did all the filming for the Warrens. We got Raven. We have, you can go to order Father Bob's book there. He's not going to be there. We have Andy Warburton. Who else is going to be there? Charles Rosenay. I mean, the list is long. I mean, we have my partner lined up some New York Times bestsellers. I mean, this is
Nice.
just
Awesome.
Chris Brown's book will be there. John Zaffis, the ones that aren't going to be there, we can do a QR code for them, and we'll talk about them. But each author will get about 15 minutes to talk. If the author does readings, they will also be able to read. We will also have vendors there. Then in the evening, myself and Kenneth Drake, the Hollywood Psychic, we will do a gallery. And then after that, Tom and Mary Jo Chudley, they will be doing the investigation. But this will all collect supplies for the Meriden Humane Society. The head of the Masonic Temple out there, Mark Orsini, he's got the Masons behind it and the Gypsy Sisters. So this is going to be a really, really nice event. This one's a little different because we're showcasing authors, but my son loved to read.
Mm-hmm.
And
Perfect.
he loved the animals. So yeah, I'm really looking forward. I'm hoping I'll give you the ads. Maybe you can share it.
Yes.
Heck
People
yeah.
can make donations. To that shelter. I'm going to start bebopping them around because I've always done them in the Cleveland area, but kind of bebopping them around and giving different shelters. The products that we collect.
Maybe you can come to Florida.
I would. What part of Florida are you in?
Newport Richie.
Okay, I'm down in Cape Coral, back and forth.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
it's about 3 hours from us, though.
Is it? Okay.
Oh, I'm not worried about it. When I go down there, I book parties. So I kind of I either go to Orlando, then I go to Cape Coral. My best friend has a house there. I
Okay.
would not go to Florida now. Hell, I don't even go outside right now. It's so
I
hot.
don't blame you.
Yeah, but yeah, I go down there and yeah, we bebop around everywhere. I like to do parties.
That would be so
reading.
awesome to have a party with you.
Oh,
Yep.
absolutely. I would love that. I'll probably
can-
be coming back down in January.
Okay, cool.
So yeah, no, I would absolutely love that.
Yeah, just let me know and I can help you find a venue or whatever you need.
Perfect. Yeah, that would be nice. Yeah, I mean, even next year we could possibly go down and do an event down there and collect, pet supplies. Like I said, my son, when I told my estranged husband, my second husband, I tend to go through husbands, but anyways, they all had a purpose. So when I moved from Pennsylvania to Ohio, I told him, I says, hey, by the way, my son's going to be coming up. And he was living in Frederick, Maryland at the time. That's where his job was. And he was a inspector. He did coating and corrosions. I said, just be prepared. There's always rescued animals. I'm just letting you know this. I don't know what else to say. So my son comes up for Easter. We're sitting there and he pulls this pigeon out of his pocket and he sets it on the table and he's feeding it. And I just look on. It's my kid, My strange husband looked and goes, is that a pigeon sitting on my table? My son puts it back in his pocket and says, yeah, I found it injured in the factory and I'm taking care of it. And he just shakes his head. It is what it is. Then he moves up and I remember it's 4:00 in the morning. I went to make my strange husband coffee. And I go in the bathroom and it's 4:00 and I'm just, and it what's funny is it was actually July 5th. I remember the day. I sit down on the toilet to go pee and I open my eyes and I'm like, I look, there is a barn owl in my bathroom sitting on my vanity going like this. And I'm like, what the hell? I hurry, pull my pants up and I start, because this thing can come at you. I start backing up. I open the door and I sneak out and I bumped into him. And I turn around and he goes, I got my letter to Hogwarts. I got my letter to Hogwarts. And I went, what is there an owl doing in the bathroom, Stephen? I don't even, Stephen, it's out. It's not even in a cage. He goes, oh, Mom, his name's Percy and I love him. I said, okay, but why is Percy in the bathroom? What are we going to do with this owl? He goes, well, Mom, I was outside having a cigarette. And he goes, he was flying and he hit a tree. And he fell when he was laying on, the driveway. And he goes, I think we better take him over to Penitentiary Glen. And I said, okay. So we took him, and they said it's very common on July 4th, or when there's fireworks, their pupils get so, they dilate, they
Aw.
can't see, and a lot of owls die.
Wow.
So he did have a torn retina and a brain bleed, and he did pass away. But yeah, that's the kind of stuff my son does, and I'm just, he would do that all the time, and I just shake my head and go, oh my God, like, what are we doing? I mean, he left behind animals galore.
Oh, wow.
And I had to I had to rehome a sugar glider. I had a blue little like crayfish lobster thing that lived for years, and I didn't know what to do with it. I was feeding it. I
had
don't
one of
know.
those.
You have one of those?
I had one, yeah.
Yeah. 3. How long do they live?
I'm not sure. Mine didn't live all that long. But he kind of grew out of his blue shell.
Okay.
So I think like sometimes that they dye their shell or something, or maybe
Okay.
when they molt and they get bigger, they lose some of their color. But he
Okay.
kept eating all of the plants in the bottom of the tank, and certain fish, if like they had big fins and stuff like that, he would like lobster claw their fins. So he was killing some of the fish.
Yeah.
So we ended up getting rid of him, but they do like turn out to be like as big as your hand, like
Yeah.
long.
That's
Like
how
it-
this thing was. It just kept growing. I mean, I'm thinking I'm doing something right. And then one day I went in there and he was gone. And I'm like, okay, well, that was the end of the blue lobster. And I'm just like, it is what it is. Like, but yeah, I mean, he just had a lot. It was all the time. So yeah, it's very important, to me to have those animals, taken care of, just to, a piece of him behind.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, I always
Thank
like
you.
to do some of the animal events and things like that, helping the animals.
Yeah, I'm very excited about this one. I really am.
Yeah, it sounds really cool.
Thank you.
Awesome. I definitely have no problem sharing. So once you get some information, give it to us. And
Absolutely. Yeah, I have ads. I have ads made up. I'll send them over to you. We're going to be doing a reel here shortly with the authors that are being, featured. Like I said, oh my God, I'm starting to name them, like Kenneth Drake, the Hollywood Psychic,
Mhm.
Christopher Lee. I mean, there are just so many amazing, authors that are going to be out there.
Nice.
That's yeah, I'm really excited about Jimmy Petnino, Mr. Haunted, to get, to have him there.
Right.
That's somebody you're going to have on. Really interesting guy. He did all the film and photographs for the Warrens. He was on all their
That's
cases.
awesome.
I
Yeah,
can only imagine what he's seen.
Oh my, he is an amazing man. He really is. I consider him a very good friend. And when I first asked him to be, he's like, no, I already have something else. I'm sorry. Then he comes back and he shows me his calendar. He goes, I don't have something else. I'm free.
Have yours. Oh,
I was so excited, to be able to have him there.
Well,
perfect.
if you don't mind, anybody that would be interested in doing the show, that would be really cool.
Yeah, I'll connect you.
Okay, perfect. Now I do have a question. We talked about the whole readings and everything, with
Yes.
sometimes it being a little personal and that kind of stuff. We have 4 minutes. Can you do a little demo?
Yeah, absolutely. Who wants what?
Nicole, do you want a little
What?
demo?
Yeah,
now?
whatever. What's coming across to you, stronger or?
See, I'm gonna say I'm going right back to the father side of the family, this
Okay.
side. But the minute we're talking, I'm getting up under the neck, okay? But in my mind's eye, not behind you or anything, it's in my mind's eye. There was a man who had beautiful white hair. You know how some people have hair that it grays very nice.
Right.
You know what I mean? This hair is very nice.
Okay.
We're going to privately talk about some of your stuff on your father's side. I don't want to bring that out. Okay. But
Okay.
that's the side that keeps coming through the heaviest with me. Can I ask you, because Who is the guy with the very nice the gray hair?
That would be my stepfather.
Okay. Very gorgeous head of hair. What was his
Yep.
name?
Always had a great head of hair.
Yeah.
Well, his biological name was Angelo. He was married to my mother for like 23 years. He
Okay.
passed away like 8 years ago.
Okay.
But
What did
he
his
was,
throat have to do with it? Can I ask you? Because when I kept pulling him through, I just keep feeling this,
I'm
like a
not quite
pressure.
sure at this point. He died
Okay.
of old age,
Old
basically.
age.
I don't know if there was anything specific. I mean, I can ask my mother,
Yeah, please
but
do.
she's just in the other room. So I mean, I can ask her if there was anything to do with his throat or what have you. But
Yeah.
yeah, like he grayed at like 19 years old to that beautiful
Okay.
white hair, and he
That's it.
still had
Yes.
a full head of hair when he died at 88 years old.
Yeah, it's funny
Damn.
because it was behind you, but I was seeing him in my mind's eye. And I'm going to tell you, he's very proud of his hair. Okay. It
Oh
really
yeah, he
was.
was very vain.
Yeah, very much so. But I kept, as I'm like, look, I'm like, my God, this guy really does have beautiful hair. And I
He
kept
does.
thinking that the whole entire time. His hair is beautiful. This isn't like something, because like when we were talking about Vinny, you saw me choke. This is just a pressure on the neck I'm getting, almost like like a seatbelt feel. You know what I mean? Because that's why I
Okay.
was like, what is this with him? So it wasn't like I can usually feel like cancer or something, you know what I mean, or COPD. It's not like that. It's just a little bit of a pressure, and I'm trying to understand that with him.
Yeah,
But
I don't know. I don't know anything specific, like I said, other than old age, that he passed away from.
he shuffles around that house. I'm going to let you know. He shuffles there.
Okay.
He is there. And yeah, he's not going anywhere. He's going to wait for your mom. But and this is the nostalgic part. Okay, all I'm seeing is literally spaghetti and meatballs. What does that mean?
For me, he's Italian, so
Okay, the
he
spaghetti and
always
meatballs.
made sauce on
Okay,
Sundays.
that makes sense to me. Okay. Okay. Yeah, because he all of a sudden just this big plate of spaghetti and meatballs. Okay. And see, that's how you identify it. You see what I'm saying? So he's Italian. Okay. God love him. But once again, very proud man. I'm gonna let you know that. Very proud.
See,
Oh
that's what
yeah.
Vinny was too. That's pretty cool.
Thanks.
Vinny was Italian too. He was
Oh, was he?
yeah, he was Sicilian.
Nice. Well, probably hence the name Vinny. But
Yep.
Well,
yeah, but
Kirby, his name was, like I said, his given name was Angelo, but everybody called him Kirby, and
Kirby,
then
I
his
love that.
mom called him Sonny.
Beautiful.
So he had quite a few nicknames, and
Nicknames. I
yeah.
have a few too, but we can't discuss them.
Uh
I'm just
oh.
kidding. But anyways, it's funny because when we go on Spirit Box, I worked power plants and I did occupational health and safety. And so, needless to say, I've been called the C word many times in a power plant, And I just always look at the guys and I'd kind of laugh, going, really? Okay, yeah. I would just chuckle because I figured if somebody calls me that, then I know I've already won the argument because it's the only thing they can, out of their mouth. So we're on Spirit Box one time and everybody's name's being said. It's like, oh, can you say Stacia? Nothing. I'm like, and I had a power plant nickname. They always called me Red. So I said, can you say my power plant nickname? The C word came across.
Oh wow.
And we all just chuckled. And I'm like, oh, okay. Now, every time I ask them what my nickname is, the spirits will say that. We were laughing because the radicals were out. And they called me and they're like, Stacia, they're calling you across the spirit box and people are listening to this.
Oh my gosh.
And that's another group you need to have on is the radicals. They too are also amazing. I'll
We're
connect you to all that.
I'm trying to get a hold of the twins as well from you that are on YouTube.
Who were they?
I don't remember their names right now, but
Okay.
they
River?
Yeah,
Is that who you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, send me a link if I know them, I'll help you get connected to them. But thank you for sharing Sonny with me. I mean, he just shuffles around your house. I'd be making us some spaghetti and meatballs and putting a plate out for him.
Absolutely. Well, my mom still every single possible day she can eats Italian food. So
I love, yeah, he, like I said, he's just shuffling around. He's going to be there for your mom.
That's good. Well, he was very, very connected to her in his life, and she took care of him at the end. And I mean, really, she took care of him since he was 50 years old. So,
Beautiful.
they're very much, she's very much connected to him. I'm sure he's just as connected to her.
Oh yeah, he's there. And I absolutely love that head of hair.
That is awesome.
My mom
Wonderful.
did too. She's a hairdresser.
Oh, is
And,
she?
you know,
Nice.
she would, of course, the only person that could cut his hair would be her. But, you know, it's just always a thing with her and him was his white, beautiful white hair.
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, we've hit 8:03, so I'm going to end it, but don't hang up because we'll
Okay,
definitely
well.
be right with you.
Okay.
That's pretty much it right now. I hope everybody had
Yes.
fun. And don't forget, let's talk paranormal.
Come on in, don't lock that door. One more tale than we asked for more. The Many Vinny Show. The Many Vinny Show.